Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. I am working on a project I'm loving today. It's from the Month of Roses. This is Village Confidential. She looks like this, and I'm working her all in pantyhose. And a lot of people have been writing to say, how do you do the thing with the pantyhose? And it's super easy. So let's look at this here. I've got a little thing of pantyhose here, right? It's over on my, can you see it? You can't see it. Gosh, that's so weird that you can't see it. Well, it's over on my side thing here, right? Oh, here it is, way back here. So it's a little bowl with the cut up pieces of pantyhose I got going. And they literally are just plain pantyhose, like this. So for example, let me get a nice piece that I'd like to cut. Some of them are, these are ones I hand dyed. Some of them are super opaque, like this. You see how all the nice colors landed here? That's a kind of pretty one, heavy yellow. Here's another opaque one. Maybe I'll cut this one up. I like that. And then some of them are quite transparent. Let's find a more, this one's more transparent. I don't know if you can tell on camera. But I'm literally cutting them. I look for a place that I would like. I like the purple that fell right here. So I just cut it like this. I just sit and kind of, watch my fingers. I got my titanium scissors, so they're sharp. And I just cut this, and it's under an inch. Sometimes I cut them wider, sometimes I cut them thinner, and once I cut them, I typically open them up like this. You can hook them double if you want, but it just makes it into a straight line. So let me do one of these too. I tend to cut the opaque a little bit skinnier because has much more body. It's more substantial, so it hooks quite a lofty loop. So when I'm about to work them, and I'm going to work these guys into the background. So let me come over here, and I'm going to work them right around here. So when I've got a new one, I just kind of go like this for a second, just to get it to loop up a bit. I want it to kind of roll. And if you can see, it rolls in on itself, right? Do you see what I mean? But only on one side. The other side, it's pretty flat, right? That side. So I like to hook with this side as opposed to this side, because this side looks more like a split thing with two, it doesn't matter. It does flip while I'm hooking it. It's not like, a huge big deal, but I like the way that the rounder side looks. With hooking with pantyhose, I always like to leave the top bit up, the little tails. I do that with most hooking, and that is officially the rule. Sometimes I don't like to, but with pantyhose I especially like to, because when you're ready to, whether you do it at the beginning or in the middle or the end, I like to cut the tails. I pull them up and then I snip them right at the height, and it does like a bit of a little swirly thing, like a tree. When someone cuts down a tree and there's all those like little swirly Van Gogh moments inside. The pantyhose do that because they're so curly and stretchy. So you can see how these are. Let me bring it in a little bit closer. Hooking up really nice. It's just a nice material to work with. And like I said, I hand dyed these. I have a video on that. But it makes kind of a different color every time you pull up. Monk's cloth is my least favorite backing to hook in, and this is why, right? It's a preference thing, but it's so thready. My hook gets stuck constantly, right? And this is like a medium hook, so it's the right hook for what I've got going with the almost inch wide pantyhose. So one of the reasons I like hooking with pantyhose is I can cut them with scissors, right? And that's always nice because I don't have to keep getting up and I'm so lazy. I don't have to keep getting up and down to cut them with like a machine. And I cut them as I go, and I keep them in little mesh bags and stuff for the next project. And I just love hooking with them because it's so easy on my wrist, right? It's so easy to pull up these loops, much easier than, for example, with wool. Also love wool, but this is another piece, and this one is a bit more sheer. So again, you can hook it doubled up. I tend not to, because it comes up as a double loop and can be, harder to control in small areas. So this one is more opaque. It makes slightly less of a loop, little less body, right? Because it's a lighter weight than the opaque. The opaque is like tights, and these are like sheer pantyhose, like legs, eggs. Remember those? So this also is very easy to hook up, just making nice soft loops. No issue with pulling. except for the frequent moments that I get caught on my monk's cloth. But I have a lot of monk's cloth right now, and I'm waiting for my other backings to come in. So I'm using the monk's cloth. I know a lot of people love it. It's not my fave, but it works. It works great. It's still a great backing. And yeah, just kind of cruising around, pulling up loops. And if you notice mine twisted, I don't know if you're close enough to notice, but mine twisted, and I've got kind of the double, twisted it back. I tend to keep twisting it with my fingers under the surface so that, you know, I'm getting it textured however I want. I've got some bigger loops. I've got some smaller loops like little dit dots, but it's just a matter with this of sitting here. I'll probably come back to my roses and just finding what color I like next and just clipping a few pieces off, and I just throw them out there ready to go. It's the easiest thing in the world, right? You can dye your own pantyhose. You can buy ones that are already dyed and just give them one of these, right? So they're ready to go. Just run it through your hands a little bit so it's ready to go, and it makes a nice, and you can identify the top part that's a nicer piece to hook with versus the bottom part with like the 2 rolls on this side. Super easy. I hope you'll give it a try soon, and I will see you next time at Ribbon Candy Hooking.